Welcome back to the United Pubcast. And Larry, it's been a while since I've said this, but it is match day. Manchester United are in action today, but no one is here for any Man United talk. We might touch on that in a little bit. Obviously, all things will be World Cup quarterfinals and what has been in the round of 16 and what is to come in the quarterfinals. But talk me through your Wednesday, because Manchester United are playing in a few hours' time. Now we'll get into the sort of likelihood of their strength of team, but that is exciting on one half, but also the excitement of the World Cup is always there as is.
It's the first time in a long time, Tom, where Manchester United isn't my focus. While the football calendar is in full flow, if that makes any sense. It's really strange. It's a unique situation. All of us, we're used to the World Cup being in the postseason, obviously. So it is interesting to see. From a United perspective, without going too deep into it, I think a really good opportunity for some young kids. If you're Charlie McNeil, and you're looking at the strikers or lack thereof in the club, be wiping my hands together, and I'd be looking to make an impression.
It is one of those things you talk about the Manchester United news, or we'll discuss on a day or two ago, just offline. We're having a chat about sort of Manchester United and the return to action. Two of the biggest stories Manchester United fans will ever sort of have to sort of contend with and deal with and dissect has happened in the last couple of weeks. But as I said, because the focus is elsewhere in the World Cup, and we always talk about we don't care about international football, all our sort of focus is on club football. At the end of the day, Ronaldo was sacked from Manchester United. Now, however that came about, at the end of the day, he was sacked from Manchester United. It was news for half an hour. The Glazers put the club up for sale. It was celebrated for 15 minutes. I'm just thinking, if those stories came at any other point in Manchester United's history, it would have been weeks and weeks and weeks of back page headlines. I'm just thinking those two huge bits of news would just sort of, okay, move on. I'm just thinking, were we right to do that? Did you feel the same way? Did you understand? Should we have reacted differently? I'm just trying to look back at those situations, just thinking they're bigger than what they were made out to be.
Yeah, of course they are, and it might actually, once the football returns, or club football returns, I think we'll see the fallout of those events, whether that be United suffer an injury crisis up front, or we see another player come in. Or there'll be a game where we don't have a decisive goal and we're going to say, why didn't we replace Ronaldo? I think the footnote on these stories isn't exactly gone just yet. But it will be interesting to see. On Ronaldo, Tom, again, finding himself in the media for the wrong reasons, talking about his behavior in the last match. He obviously got benched for this match, and Portugal pull out a magnificent result. And not just that, the young striker, hell of an impression. Silva, is it? It killed it.
Ramos from Benfica.
Ramos, sorry. His first strike. Oh, my goodness. The goalkeeper could do nothing.
All of them. Well, we'll touch on the Portugal game because that whole incident in regards to how that ties into Manchester United. And obviously here, when Portuguese shirt, calm down, everyone. It's not Ronaldo. It's obviously for Bruno Fernandes and Diogo Dalot. But we'll get into all that in a second. There is a poll in the live chat. What quarterfinal are you looking forward to most? Please do leave your thoughts in there and have a vote in the poll. Chris here in regards to saying if you did miss the start of the show, I hope you're with us, mate. But I'm going for France. My hunch at the moment is a France v Brazil final. We'll see. We'll discuss it and see the logistics of that. And Ashby, good to see you, mate. Jordan Ashby will be playing with Larry and I on Sunday for the Man United Supporters Club. Links are you can find all the Supporters Club details in the description below. And if you are in Sydney, Manchester United fans taking on a bunch of Arsenal fans. If you're keen for some tackles flying in, please do come down and give us some support. But Larry, World Cup, before the quarterfinals, we'll go back to the round of 16. And so we won't dissect every single game because we want to look ahead to the quarterfinals. But just your thoughts in regards to, England sort of cruised through. Brazil got the job done. They raised up one or two discussions. So obviously looked at Ronaldo in terms of he wasn't playing and the replacement scored the goals. So just the round of 16, give me a bit of a rundown on your sort of thoughts that come to mind.
On the round of 16 in general?
Yeah, just like what caught your eye, what sort of stood out? And
what stood out? The Spain-Morocco game wasn't anything amazing, but man, you got to take your hats off to Morocco. Bloody hell, they did well.
We said about 12 hours before kickoff, I said it to you, and you sort of said the same thing back. I think Morocco are going to win this, but in saying that, I said, I think Morocco will win. But I think I could easily see Spain winning 6-0. So you didn't know which way it was going to eventuate. But I think Morocco, Ian here, good mate of ours from over in Perth, so looking forward to Morocco doing Portugal's off here, France. Just just a great Man United representation regardless across the stage, which is great because, France obviously got Rafael Varane, Portugal, we have Bruno Fernandes and Diogo Dalot, but Morocco is that team. Like, obviously the team of the tournament, Larry, is the team who goes on and wins it, of course. Okay, that's what every team is there for. But if I'm calling a team of the tournament now, it's Morocco. Just for the way they've played the game, they've been on the front foot, they've been energetic, they're sort of excited, they've got the job done against a big nation like Spain. And I just think at the moment, look, no standout names. They've obviously got Hakim Ziyech and Hakimi. Obviously, we'll talk about that penalty. They're the team of the tournament for me so far. I think they've been a breath of fresh air, especially when you see some of the other nations have been a little bit pragmatic, and I can understand the pragmatism in regards to playing it safe and making sure you get through to the next round. But with a team like Morocco with nothing to lose, I think they've been brilliant to watch. And look, I would like Portugal to progress, but I'm not going to hold it against Morocco if they do.
No, of course not. Everyone likes a good underdog story, particularly as Australians. I think we've always perceived our own football team as underdogs, so it's very easy to get behind the sentiment in that. And Morocco, absolutely the underdogs in terms of the teams left in this World Cup. In terms of most impressive sides, I have two. One, Morocco, I agree with you there. In terms of working as a collaborative unit, I think they've been very impressive, and they punched above their weight today. Let's not understate how good a performance this is. I mean, I think a lot of judges had Morocco going through, but that's probably because they've been so impressive in the group stages, and they've again backed it up against a side with, World Cup winners in it. So let's not blink at their achievement there. The other side, I have to say, though, Brazil for me. Round of 16, they were the most impressive performance. They look good in attack. They look good in defense. They look the most settled side. In saying that, I think the one where I'm like, I'm not sure, is probably Portugal. They're the side where I'm looking at. They scored 6 today, and I don't think they're anywhere near their potential. If you're asking me team of the tournament so far, I'm going to say Brazil. But if you're asking me who's got the potential to show us a lot more, I'm going to say it's Portugal.
Yeah, well, obviously Portugal, I don't know, I've assumed that answer, and which would be right to be so, is obviously without Cristiano Ronaldo. That is a discussion when we get into the quarterfinals, but we'll sort of start previewing each game individually. But good mate of ours and been on the podcast a few times, John Silk, who's got a new tennis channel, Talking Tennis. So if you do need a little bit of tennis content.
John Silk hiding behind that big T?
Yeah, so if you need a bit of tennis content, do go over and subscribe to Talking Tennis. But he makes a point on that Spain and Morocco match. If Spain score early, I think that's the case in every game, but especially in terms of the way Spain play. If they did score early, Morocco are out. We're not having that discussion. But I am glad. Look, Spain are one of the nations I do like, but yeah, fair play to Morocco. Very happy with this. But just in regards to the first preview, Larry, we'll go on to England, France, and John here makes the point. I'm shocked by how many people are predicting England to beat France. And this isn't the usual jingoism from the English media. For me, play for player, France edge it. I'm starting to think, as I said at the start, I'm starting to think if I'm putting money on a World Cup final, I think at the moment it is Brazil and France. And that's just through the way they're playing, through the power they have in the team, through the quality and all the ability, and sort of maybe the size of the draw, maybe potentially sort of easier path for both teams. They don't have to verse each other in the semi-final. So I'm looking at this France-England game. Look, I love a dramatic crash out by England. I love that. Hope it's not Luke Shaw or Harry Maguire costing them, but I love a dramatic exit by England. However, the way we have supported Manchester United over the decades, you do have a soft spot for England, even if you're not English, and you do want them to progress and obviously want that ride to continue. And obviously for the Man United players, you want them to do well. This is where, I don't know, it just has that, you can see France just being too powerful. And at the end of that, I probably wouldn't criticise England. You could imagine when England go out, it'd be Southgate out, this player's at fault. Ultimately, as John says, I think France are just a better team. And just your thoughts in regards to this match. I don't know. I think it's on the weekend. I think it's Saturday or Sunday Sydney time.
Sunday morning, 6 a.m. France should go through. I think if England pull it off, if someone says to me, England are going to win the World Cup and they manage to get past France, I can't argue with them because they would have deserved it. At the moment, you have to say France get through. I mean, so how does it progress, Tom? I might actually bring that up now. So the winner of this game, do they go on to verse Brazil?
No, that's the other side of the draw. The winner of England-France plays the winner of England-France plays Portugal-Morocco.
Portugal-Morocco.
So we could have an England-Portugal semi-final, which I would love. I would just love a Bruno Fernandes penalty. Look, no offense to any of our English listeners, but Bruno Fernandes knocking England out, I just think the story that would create would be beautiful.
Oh my God. Yeah.
As long as Harry Maguire doesn't give away the penalty.
I could see that. It'd be hilarious. I think whoever wins out of England, France goes to the final. I think that's a fair enough assessment. I like Portugal. Like I said, if they fulfill that potential that I think they can absolutely win the lot. But I just have a bit of a doubt. And the other thing is, Pepe is a mainstay of their defense. And he had a hell of a game today, Pepe. But I just wonder, can he kind of cope against the better sides? I'm not too sure. I could see someone like...
Tying it back, we'll get to that Portugal discussion and Pepe, but just a few things here. Rob, good to see. He'll be on It's a Football thing in an hour's time, so do go over and check that out for a little bit more World Cup content. But he's here saying, I've got England doing France for some reason. And look, England on their day, but that's my discussion in regards to my next point. The whole discussion in regards to this England-France game. Is he going to go to 3 at the back and put Kyle Walker inside to stop Kylian Mbappe? I'm just thinking, is that the right thing? Should England be trying to stop Mbappe? Or should England say, hang on, we've got Harry Kane, we've got Phil Foden, France, you deal with this problem? I'm just thinking, will England try and stop France, or should they be on the front foot and giving France problems? Because Mbappe, at the end of the day, he's the player of the tournament. He's killing it. Like, it is worth a discussion to try and stop him.
It's a hell of a gamble from England. It's a really difficult one. I'm trying to... Do I answer your question as a fan and what I want to see, or do I answer your question pretending I'm the coach? If you look at England, I would probably look to attack France and try and get the first goal, because if England sit back and they concede, I don't see them getting back into the game. If England are going to beat France, they need to score first. I don't look at that English side and think they're full of confidence, and I don't see a comeback in them. So they need to score first if they're going to win this game. Whereas France, you could see them falling behind and still coming back to win it. I think that they'll definitely have their tails up for it. France, they're the most recent World Cup winners. They've lost a lot, but they still got enough. And I just think, look at that France defense. We say go at France. I can never say his name. Jesus Christ. Upamecano. Jesus God.
Rafael Varane's playing in there, obviously.
Varane's in there. Like it's a strong defense. It's a really strong defense. I can't. The fullbacks are eluding me right now, but I look at their team sheet and I'm like, good luck. It's a good team, and even in the midfield, it's quite combative. It's inexperienced, and that's where you wonder, can England get the edge over him? And it'll be a good midfield battle actually when you consider you've got Bellingham on the other side, who's quite young.
Well, there's a case if England could actually win that. We'll talk about midfield battles, but there is a case now. You look at its potential Real Madrid midfield in terms of on the French side of things in regards to the quality they have there. But obviously, in regards to experience, and I wouldn't say experience, but it's obviously quite young. But compared to the French team, England do have quite an experienced midfield. But Ian here is saying Jude will be player of the tournament if England progress, because Jude Bellingham, look, we'll have many discussions in the coming weeks about Jude Bellingham. Yeah, he's right. If England progress, he'll be the player of the tournament.
And Koundé, that's right, at fullback. I mean, Koundé is more of a centre-half, obviously, but Hernandez is class. You could argue he's in that conversation for best left-backs in world football at the moment. And Koundé is... again, highly seeked after from Europe's elite football clubs. So it's a really good defense. What's interesting, Tom, Brazil and France, both heavyweights, both sides that you would consider could go all the way, both sides playing centre-backs at right-back, which I find quite interesting.
Yeah. Look, it's interesting. It ties into that discussion with Kyle Walker. Should Kyle Walker be playing inside in a 3? I think with so much attacking sort of talent, and I wouldn't say lazy players, but across all the teams, you look at the best players in the world at the moment in that attacking third, whether it be a Messi and not Ronaldo at the moment, but I think of a vintage Ronaldo, think of players like Kylian Mbappe, all those match winners. I wouldn't say they're lazy, but they're players who are afforded that luxury of not really defending. So I'm just thinking now maybe sort of in this tournament sort of style of football, some of the fullbacks or the manager's idea of a fullback is really defence first rather than sort of bomb forward. Okay, let the attackers go do their job, stay in the attacking third of the pitch. Defenders stay here in a low block and let's just sort of keep it nice and steady. But betting money, going France, I'm going France 2-1. I'd like England to win it, but I think France might just shade it.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me tell you why England will not win it. He's not going to pick Rashford because Southgate's just blindly loyal. And because of that, they're not going to be able to get in behind France, which I think is their only hope. And all in all, I think France just got too much football in him. So I'm going to go 3-1 France.
Yeah, hard to disagree, but definitely that is a match I'll be setting the alarm for. Definitely can't wait for it. And we'll move on to the next game. We'll sort of go back in. I've just seen Emad here. Just reminded Diogo Dalot. We're obviously big fans of Diogo Dalot. I would love nothing more than Portugal crashing out. Look, I know why Matt does, but I also like Morocco as well. So
it's because of Bruno, isn't it?
Yeah, it's because of Bruno.
Yeah,
but look, Bruno's been brilliant this tournament so far. Another assist today. But on Portugal, Morocco, look, I'm not going to lose any sleep if Morocco upset. I think it'll be a fantastic story. Morocco in the semi-final, I would absolutely love that. But Manchester United have Bruno Fernandes and Diogo Dalot. I want to see them progress for Portugal. And obviously, regardless of our feelings, that dream scenario of a Ronaldo-Messi final is still there. Not that Ronaldo will be playing. That's another discussion. But on Morocco v Portugal.
How much younger is Messi than Ronaldo, by the way? I'm going to check. Is it 2 years?
2 or 3 years.
Yeah, so Messi's 35. There you go. It's interesting, because if you look at Ronaldo at 35 to Ronaldo now, and I think there are other circumstances around Ronaldo's performance, but Ronaldo at 35 was smashing over 30 goals a season for Juventus. It's interesting to see in such a small window of time the perception of the players. It's unreal. Like Ronaldo can't get a start for Portugal now. I feel like it's almost from the coach's perspective, it's almost the cool thing to do now. I know that's not what's happened. But it seems like it's really easy to criticize Ronaldo now. Like it's the fashionable thing. It's like how it's fashionable for United fans.
The thing today, and I've seen reliable accounts and people who I value their opinion sort of talk about this and sort of rehash this. I don't want to say fake news, but it was along the lines that I was watching the match, and at full time, Ronaldo went over with the players to celebrate or to applaud the Portuguese fans. And I was watching live right at full time. It was about 2 or 3 minutes. Ronaldo was there applauding the fans and sort of with the Portuguese team. Then he walked off the field. The whole media was Ronaldo walked off the field without applauding the fans. I was thinking, hang on, he's just doing it for 2 or 3 minutes with the team. But the images that rehashed all over social media, him walking off by himself. Like, yes, he did walk off by himself, but he did spend 2 or 3 minutes with his team, congratulating them and applauding the fans. So I think the criticism, it's no secret, the criticism of him, the reasons for that. But Imadi, obviously the reason he doesn't like Portugal, the guy up front, obviously Ronaldo, but he's not the guy up front at the moment. It is Ramos. I feel so sorry for this Ramos kid because he's come on and scored a hat-trick in a World Cup. It's a story of the World Cup, like to come on and replace Cristiano Ronaldo and score a hat-trick and to get no headlines. Now, that might be a good thing for him. Maybe he can sort of fly under the radar and sort of won't have that pressure because he's got to start the next game against Morocco. And I'm just thinking, okay, what a story. So talk to me about that. But also, is he next on Manchester United's transfer target list?
There's always one after a World Cup. He is going to be the James Rodriguez of this grand final of this World Cup. It's interesting. Well, Real Madrid signed James Rodriguez off the back of his 2014 World Cup, if you remember. There was no link with the player whatsoever. He was just doing his thing. I think he was at Monaco, wasn't he? And then he got signed by Real Madrid. This might be the one. This might be the breakout name. I don't see him. Look, I don't think United will go in for him. But I could absolutely see him being linked with some big European clubs. You know what? I could see him being linked with Real Madrid following the World Cup. I don't feel... You know what? I get what Ahmad's saying. He was very arrogant today, but I kind of like that. I mean, you replaced Ronaldo. His first goal was... Like, you know how goalkeepers always get criticized for not... Whenever they concede a goal at their near post? Tom... There was such more room for error, and he managed to get it in. Like there was nothing the goalkeeper could have done. I don't blame Yamara there at all. I thought it was a hell of a finish. And then he's flying high from confidence, and he takes it. And let's not when you replace Ronaldo and you're that young, he could have had every reason to put in the shittest performance of his life. He went and he smashed it. Good on him.
Yeah. No, I was over the moon for him, and I was just watching the game, and I wasn't really sort of into the storyline. I was just watching the game, and bang, 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 he scored 3 goals. This game against Morocco, I'll actually sit down and sort of watch him play and sort of what type of striker he is. I was just really sort of remembered the goals from this game. So I'm definitely keen to sort of sit down and actually have a look at him. Not that the Man United are going to buy him, but we do need a striker. And look, obviously Benfica don't sort of mind selling a striker, so we'll definitely have a look at that.
Tom, you and I have debated the quality of João Felix. He was unplayable today. And that's what frustrates me about João Felix. Yeah, when he's on, he's brilliant. But I don't see it often enough from him. Like, he's not even starting for Atletico Madrid at the moment because he's so hot and cold. And,
there is always a debate with those type of players.
Transfer.
Yeah, consistency and obviously consistency when you move to the Premier League and a big club like Man United is obviously its own kettle of fish. But yeah, quality-wise, I do look at him and Gakpo, and look, I do like what I see from Gakpo. We'll get into the Netherlands in a sec. But quality-wise, Felix, I think, is, like you say, unplayable. I think he's absolutely brilliant. the issue comes on how he's going to adapt to the game in England and the pressures with dealing with Manchester United. I'm sure we'll be having many of those discussions. Sorry, mate?
He's a big body. I think he's perceived as small, but you look at him on the pitch, he's a big guy.
He reminds me of Kaka. Like Kaka is one player. He's actually quite slight, but he's actually quite big as well. And I'm just thinking, obviously, they physically as well look quite alike as well. It is an interesting one. But I've bet in man, Portugal, Morocco. I think Portugal probably just shade it. I think,
yeah. I think Portugal as well. I think it'll be Portugal. I'm going to say a comfortable 2-0 victory.
No, it will be interesting. Look at another game's potentially going to go to penalties. We'll sort of touch on that in a little bit, but fair play to Morocco for making it this far. I think, as I said, I think they've been the team of the tournament. I won't begrudge them a victory and a berth in the semi-final if that is to be, but I'd like to see Bruno and Diogo Dalot there. Now, we'll move on to the other one. This is interesting. This is maybe I don't know if it's actually an upset. Probably is an upset. Argentina and Netherlands. I like Argentina in terms of, obviously, love Lisandro Martinez. I'm still holding out for the dream final of Portugal-Argentina. I have a feeling Netherlands are going to do this. Now, I don't think that's off the back of Netherlands being great this tournament or Argentina being sort of so poor. I just think it's just a hunch. I don't know. I remember the 1998 Dennis Bergkamp goal against Argentina. I remember the orange kit against the Argentina kit. Just a vision in my mind has Cody Gakpo scoring because this... Yes, Mbappe scoring goals. Yes, it's Mbappe's tournament. But for a breakout player, it's seemingly like it's going to be Cody Gakpo. And I just think when a player is in form and when a player has momentum, that's hard to stop. And I just see a situation where, obviously, if Lisandro Martinez is on the bench, which is likely going to be the case with the Argentina manager, I can see Cody Gakpo maybe scoring 1 or 2 goals before he comes on the pitch. And if they're 2-0 up before that happens, I think it's Netherlands' game to win.
You know what? I'm with you on this one. I think the Netherlands will win. And the reason I say that, I don't mean I know Australia is so proud of the Socceroos. Can I be honest? I thought Argentina should not have let Australia anywhere near that game. With all due respect. And
I watched it back. I watched it back. Argentina were poor.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Argentina haven't looked good this whole World Cup. They scraped through Australia, who could have easily equalized in the latter stages. And if Argentina play, I mean, you look at the man for man, they should have wiped the floor with the Socceroos, with all due respect. I don't care if Australia put in the most clinical
at the end of the day, you're right, but they've got Lionel Messi, and no matter how good Netherlands play, no matter how good Louis van Gaal sets the Dutch up tactically, if you have Lionel Messi in your team and he's on it, he's at it. He's that player.
He absolutely is that player, but that's the problem. If it's not coming from Messi, where's it going to come from? And that's the only thing. And I know that sounds lazy. I mean, you're talking about one of the best players who's ever laced a pair of boots, granted. But if Messi's not on, I don't trust the footballing system of Argentina to overcome the tactical discipline of Louis van Gaal's Netherlands side.
You mentioned that name there. Before we move on to sort of a prediction in the last quarterfinal. An unsung hero or underrated name or someone who hasn't got the headlines that potentially deserved of this tournament, Louis van Gaal? I just think from a Manchester United perspective, I would love to say, obviously, he's had his health battles as well. I would love to see a situation where Louis van Gaal lifts the World Cup. I would love that.
I'd get behind that. You know what? You and I have said it multiple times. He's the one sacked manager. If you gave him one more year, I think he would have done a madness.
Don't know about a madness. I think things would have improved.
No, I think he would have done a madness. I think he would have. When I say done a madness, he would have played football the quality way. Like everything that Ten Hag is doing now is exactly like it's the same philosophy as Louis van Gaal. I think Ten Hag's probably, he's a younger coach, so he's probably a bit more willing to take a risk than Louis van Gaal was. But I mean, in terms of the finished article of how these guys play football, it's very similar.
And obviously, Erik ten Hag has a few better tools at his disposal. Obviously, Louis van Gaal was playing out the back with Phil Jones and Chris Smalling for a large part of his time at United. But quick prediction on Netherlands. Obviously, we're both picking Netherlands. I can see maybe a 1-0 Netherlands.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of goals in it. 1-0 or 2-1. You know what? Can I give a shout? I think Memphis Depay will score.
He's scoring goals, and obviously Rob was spoken to him a few times. He's obviously a big fan of Memphis Depay and could see a situation where he sort of comes in at Old Trafford, whether it be on a loan or a permanent deal. It's interesting. I'm sure we'll be having many discussions, especially if he puts Netherlands 1-0 up against Argentina. We'll definitely keep an eye on that. But the last quarterfinal, Brazil and Croatia. Croatia just one of those teams. They're just always there. Hell, they were in the World Cup final 4 years ago. So you can't write them off, and they're always there. They always get the job done. They're hard to beat. And they've obviously got this defender a lot of people are talking about. I haven't really sat down and watched him. I forget his name. It obviously starts with a G. I think he wore a mask in the first game, so I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert on him. But a lot of people rave about him, so I'll definitely keep an eye on him. But will he have enough sort of individuals to stop the firepower Brazil have? Because you do look the way they do go forward. Now, maybe a little bit pragmatic at times in terms of the way they play. But when they have the ball and they're going forward and they're sort of let the shackles off, you just look at the quality. Neymar, the player I've been impressed with, Vinicius Jr. Obviously, he plays for Real Madrid. He's a Brazilian international. Obviously, he's quality. I never really sort of saw how good he is. Like, he is quality on the wing. I'm just thinking Man United could do with some quality like that. So Vinicius Jr., Neymar, Richarlison scoring goals. He's obviously looking like a top-class striker with that responsibility.
He might get a move to a big club following this World Cup, Richarlison.
Look, I was saying I didn't want him at Manchester United, but when he was leaving Everton, I was thinking, if Ronaldo leaves, or we'd take Richarlison. I thought it was worth a debate. Now, I'm sort of happy we didn't get him, but obviously went to Tottenham. Whatever is happening there is happening. But look, when he's given that main number 9 role, obviously thinks he's R9 for God's sake. Fair play to him. He is performing. But talk to me about Brazil, Croatia. Do you think are we lazy to say it's straightforward for Brazil, or did they need an early goal against Croatia? If it goes longer, is Croatia going to grow in confidence?
Look, with Croatia, it's as simple as Luka Modric. But unfortunately, he's all they really got. I think they're all technically pretty sound, but it's an old team. And I think Brazil will just have way too much football for them.
Well, there's a comment here from Chris in regards to the opposite way. I was saying Brazil need an early goal, and I think Croatia sort of might struggle with that firepower. But he's saying I can see Brazil imploding if they go a goal behind. The obviously perfect example we have of that, Larry. Now it was a semi-final, not a quarter-final, but when they conceded an early goal against Germany. Now, obviously, they didn't have Neymar at the time, but they're 5-0 down at half-time in that game. I think it's a different
side. I don't foresee that.
But can you see something in the Brazil team in regards to that panic? Because there is pressure. There's no pressure on Australia. There's pressure on England, but there's no real pressure on real nations. Brazil, there is a pressure to go and win the World Cup. Other teams, Morocco, have a pressure to get out of the group. We have a pressure to win a game. Brazil's pressure is to win the World Cup. And if they do go a goal down in knockout stage football, suddenly they're out. They do need to go and score those goals. I'm just thinking there is a situation where Chris is right. Panic stations could hit.
When I look at the Brazil side of 2014, David Luiz is probably the biggest clown of a defender I've ever seen in my life. On the ball, brilliant. The guy could do free kicks. He always turned up against United for whatever reason when he was playing for Chelsea. But in terms of defending, he's woeful, okay? Whenever that guy is in defense, any side is capable of scoring 7, including any A-League side, all right? I just think when I look at that Brazil team now, look at the defense they've got. Militao, you've got Silva in there, you've got Marquinhos, who I think is in the conversation for best centre-half in the world. It's such a strong side.
Forget the defence. The ball's not getting defence. They've got the best midfielder in the world in front of them. I think he's one of the players of the tournament.
Casemiro has been unreal. And that's the thing, though. Like, where is Croatia going to score the goals? Nothing's getting past the brick wall that's Casemiro. And even if it does, you've then got one of the best defenders of the last 15 years in Thiago Silva, experienced. He'll keep, that'll be a good race, Luka Modric against Thiago Silva. But then you've also got Marquinhos and Militao, and I just think they're really strong. Brazil, they've got goals, they've got a bit of steel in the middle of the park, which is crucial. And then they've obviously got Neymar, who hasn't been brilliant, wasn't brilliant yesterday either, but did his part. And that's the difference between Neymar and maybe the other superstars in the other sides. Neymar's happy to almost be a bit part. He's playing the team game, and maybe this is the game where he turns it on. I think that's what we want to see from Brazil, but that'll be way too strong. I think they'll beat Croatia comfortably.
Yeah, well, Chris here agreeing that Casemiro 100% player of the World Cup so far. It would be hard for me to disagree with that. And Berger here, good to see, mate. Brazil fixed the problem they had a few years ago where everyone played for Neymar. Unfortunately, Portugal is fixing in the exact same problem. Everyone will always search for Ronaldo. There is a case, and I think that happens with some teams. I think Lionel Messi and Argentina probably do it in a positive way, And I think Manchester United, Ronaldo in Portugal, and Ronaldo maybe did it in a negative way. So I think it's a fine balance on sort of making that happen. But I definitely can see that. And there was a thing. I remember that 2014 match in Brazil and Germany. They lost that match before the goals started going in. They lost that match when they're doing the national anthems, holding up the Neymar shirt like he died when he was out injured. I'm just saying that is where they lost the game. It was too much about Neymar. I'm just saying that is a fair point from Berger there. Now, obviously, that wraps up the quarterfinals, Larry. My hunch is, in regards to the way the side of the draw, as I said, I think Brazil and France are the teams that do progress to the final. But after the discussion we did have, is anyone else sort of potentially working their way into that discussion for you?
Right,
I think if England get through France,
I
think if England get through France, they get through Portugal.
I don't think we gave enough respect to the Netherlands. They're the most...
Yeah.
In terms of when you look at coaches, the coaches at the World Cup, you don't get a better CV than Louis van Gaal. And the guy knows how to win. And I look at the caliber of players they have. They probably are the only side where if they get it right tactically, you could see them beating anyone on their day. They're probably my smoky. But in terms of who goes to the, I'm sticking with Brazil. I think they'll win it. I can't. They've been the most impressive. France need to go another level. Did you see what Rio Ferdinand said about France and Mbappe, by the way? Oh
I saw a snippet. It was on mute. It was one of the Instagram videos that was scrolling, but it wasn't on sound. So I saw there was something.
France, all they've got is Mbappe, essentially. I'm paraphrasing, but I'm like, sorry.
That's all the England. That's all the English media need for Mbappe hat trick. That'll obviously happen.
Oh,
but
sign me up. You know what? If Brazil scores a goal and France lose, I'll take it. Sorry, and England lose, I'll take it.
Yeah, no, well, obviously at this time of the tournament, I'm just sort of looking out for the Man United players and do hope they perform well. And fingers crossed, one can get their hands on that trophy. But Chris here saying Netherlands, the MH370, they are flying under the radar.
Yeah.
And George here, just a reminder, obviously, if you did like that World Cup discussion, please do leave a like on the video. That'd be very good of you. But obviously, the big reminder, Manchester United are playing today, Larry. Manchester United are playing Cadiz in Spain. I'm just thinking, it's one of those games, like those preseason games, you think, oh, they're no good. Why am I going to watch this? But when they do throw up some of the youth players who are going to be, I've seen the squad. And obviously, it is a youth team going over there, obviously, with the players who didn't make the World Cup squad as well. So a nice little mixture there, but predominantly a youth team. And I'm just thinking, as you say, some of them, we don't have a striker at the moment. And look, Anthony Martial is fit. Can we rely on that fitness? Who knows? So if a striker scores a goal or two, if a midfielder sort of puts in a performance, they can work their way into off the bench in the League Cup in 2 weeks' time. I'm just thinking, okay, it's a pre-season friendly type thing, but it also does sort of give me a reason for excitement.
Kobbie Mainoo's the one I'm looking out for. You look at United's lack of depth in midfield, and not just that. If you look at the midfielders we still have at the World Cup, it's Casemiro and it's Fred and it's Bruno. So I mean that's two of our starting three midfielders. You'd have to say in United's strongest 11.
Eriksen should be back for the League Cup. I think he'll probably have another week off or another couple of days off. I think he will return now.
What League Cup game is going to be so interesting. What kind of team are we going to put out?
I think anyone in the tournament now won't play in this game. So the Portuguese, English, French, Malaysia.
Game actually, I'm going to have a look.
It's before Christmas. It's before the Premier League returns. I think it's like the day after the World Cup final, maybe. Potentially 2 days after the World Cup final.
Oh yeah, it is too. So the World Cup final is happening on. So 19th. Our time it'll be Monday the 19th, and then we've got the League Cup game against Burnley on the Thursday.
Yeah, so I think anyone playing now at the World Cup won't be ready for that match. But I assume Christian Eriksen will be back.
Tom, can I list off the names of United players that are still at the World Cup? Our whole back four, minus David De Gea. So Diogo Dalot, Rafael Varane, Lisandro Martinez, Luke Shaw, and his backup, Tyrell Malacia, are all still in the World Cup. So the defense is going to be...
Okay, so give me that back four for Burnley then.
I have no idea what Burnley's back four is.
No. How Man United going to line up? Our back four, because that back four is not going to be available, I don't think.
Victor Lindelof will play. David De Gea will play.
Wan-Bissaka has to get a run in.
Imagine he doesn't.
Well, he might not. I'm trying to think.
Ted and Mengi.
Tuanzebe.
Tuanzebe's had a really long layoff with injury. I would say Mengi's a better chance.
See a situation. This is a shout, and I'm definitely. I would love to see maybe one or two of the reserve players maybe given a shout. But could you see a situation? Emergency calls. Anthony Elanga at right back. That's not good. But I'm just saying, could you see a situation where that happens?
No, I think Ethan Ladd will get called back.
Oh, dear. Well, actually, I want to get in there. If anyone does know, has an article, has any information, Ethan Ladd, if he can be recalled. He can be. Look, I would love to see that, not just from wanting to see him do well, but I'd love to see Eric Ten Hag take the initiative and say, no, I do see something in him. Let's give him a chance.
Brendan Williams, forgot about him. Williams is back in the team. I think he'll
still
play.
There. Look, that back four against Aston Villa will be very interesting. Phil Jones, I have a feeling Phil Jones isn't actually registered to play in any competition this year.
I agree. I don't think he's registered.
So why he's there, who knows? Another discussion in the Phil Jones category, but in here saying I want to see Savage again. They're the two I think we cast our mind back to when we're in Melbourne. Pre-season, Charlie Savage and Zidane Iqbal. I think, okay, yes, if a striker scores a goal, okay, maybe he can get himself on the bench in replace of Ronaldo in these first couple of games back. But I think if Charlie Savage or Zidane Iqbal play well, I think they could potentially force their way into it these next couple of games.
I like Charlie Savage, but I think he's lower down the pecking order. I think it'll be. I could be biased here, but I think Mainu is a shout, but. I think if there's a midfielder to take his chance, it's going to be Zidane Iqbal.
I think Iqbal's the top
closest to the first team. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. And look, that's all you can hope for. You can hope they take their chance. And Eric Ten Hag, I think, has shown this season will punish bad performances and reward good performances. So if they can get a few good minutes under their belts in these first, I keep saying pre-season, but you know what I mean, these friendly games before.
You know why I think Iqbal's a good shout as well, Tom? Charlie Savage is a number 6, like traditional number 6. He likes to screen the back four. If you look at what the United side at the moment is lacking, it's that box-to-box midfielder. I think we've got 6 down pat with Casemiro. How long that's for, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, you're just looking at emergency situations for the next week or two where Casemiro is not going to be available. Fred's not going to be available.
Yeah. That's another problem. When Casemiro's not there, we don't have a number 6. It will be McTominay. McTominay will play for sure.
God, yeah, he's still there. I haven't discussed him. Usually he's on the tip of our tongue on these podcasts. We haven't discussed him for ages. Obviously Scotland aren't at the World Cup, but Anthony Martial is obviously back fit. So front three, we won't get into all the midfield to the variables, but to finish off the podcast, we've done the back four that's going to line up against Aston Villa, but the front three, Anthony Martial through
Burnley.
The middle.
Stop saying Aston Villa. It's Burnley.
Aston Villa. I have said Aston Villa a few times. I'm saying the same colour, not
jersey. Jersey's
the same colour. But the front three against Burnley, Anthony Elanga. I'm just trying to think about the other one.
Martial.
I think there's a big name on this.
World Cup, isn't he? No, he's no.
Yeah, he is. Well, Uruguay got it. Yeah, he might be back, but he hasn't sort of found himself in any favours under Eric Ten Hag. But I think Villa's a big name I'm missing.
Elanga, Martial. Oh,
Garnacho, obviously. Yeah, no, I think he's a shoo-in. He's been our best player in recent.
Elanga. There you go.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Maybe Ronaldo on the bench.
Sorry?
Maybe Ronaldo on the bench.
Ronaldo, we'll have to get used to. We'll have to take him off our graphics and get someone else in that number 7 shirt because obviously we do have that number 7 shirt does need replacing. And look, that might be Garnacho. Who knows? Time will tell. But fingers crossed he can sort of hit the ground running as he did leave off.
That. Would you like to see Garnacho given the 7, or do you think that'll be reserved for a marquee signing?
It's a hard one. I don't know what I want. Don't know what the best option is. You can only hope that I don't know.
Of all the elite number 7s you think of, outside of Cantona for Man United, all of them were lesser known names until they made it their own at United. So I'd argue, why not do the same here?
Yeah, no. Look, I'd love to see it, but then I also
Brian Robson grew into the shirt. George Best grew into the shirt. Ronaldo was 18 when he had the number 7 shirt. David Beckham, what number? David Beckham didn't start with the 7. He started with a different number, didn't he?
Yeah, 24, then 10.
24, and then he got the 7.
Do you know why he had to give up the number 10 shirt?
I do. Give me a second.
Because he loved the number 10 shirt. Manchester United, David Beckham, number 10, he absolutely loved it. But Ferguson called him one pre-season.
We signed someone and we gave it to them.
It was off the bat. It was a signing. So it was a pre-season.
That's good trivia. That would be great trivia. Who did David Beckham give up the number 10 shirt to?
So Sir Alex Ferguson called him in pre-season. It was a big money signing to replace Eric Cantona. Teddy Sheringham. So Teddy Sheringham came
I
in.
wanted to say that too.
Got the number 10 shirt, and Beckham came into the office almost crying, saying, "What do you take me number 10 shirt off me for, boss?" And he said, "That's okay. I'm going to give you the number 7." And obviously the rest is history. But look, I'd love to see Garnacho give the number 7 shirt. Maybe just sort of stand off a little bit in regards to. I'd hate to see pressure put on those young players because I could see one bad performance, not even a bad performance, a subpar performance with that 7 shirt. And everyone's like, "Oh, he's not worth it." And I'm just saying he doesn't need that at this stage of his career. Let him crack on and doing what he's doing, because what he's doing at the moment, he's arguably one of our best players. So long may that continue. But is there anything else World Cup or Man United related before we do wrap up, mate?
Are we is it a guarantee that a United player lifts the World Cup now? No, it's not. If Morocco win it,
Morocco or Croatia are there.
Morocco or Croatia. Other than that, a United player is winning.
So you'd say betting a very good chance for Manchester United player does lift it.
Wow. Imagine Harry Maguire as a World Cup winner. Imagine Fred as a World Cup winner. What's more crazy to you? Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire as World Cup winner? Yeah, I'm not going to throw Shaw in with Maguire. That's not fair. Maguire as a World Cup winner or Fred as a World Cup winner? What's more comical?
Scary, not scary, because I like the idea of this. But the weird thing is, okay, before we get into the discussion of one of them winning it, I could see a World Cup final where one of those scores. If Brazil were playing, I could see Fred scoring, or if England are in it, I could see a corner coming, Harry Maguire scoring.
I could see them both scoring an own goal.
Yeah, that's potentially obviously the case as well. All I hope from this stage of the World Cup now, what I hope from England's point of view is if they do crash out, a Manchester United player isn't hung out to dry, and that usually is the case, unfortunately. But I hope Rashford, Shaw, and Maguire stay clear of I hope Jordan Henderson is the one to score an own goal or something. But
man's got to hear the butcher lifting it. Man, I love Martinez, but if there's a player I want the visual of lifting it, it's Bruno. Sorry, I don't know why. I love Bruno. I'd love to see Bruno lift.
Look, I think every Manchester. I'm with Emad. Look, I'm wearing the Portuguese shirt. I love Bruno Fernandes to win it, but I do love Argentina in regards to a Manchester United fan. Well, obviously the rivalry with England and Argentina, and obviously Lisandro Martinez is a crowd favourite. I'd love to see him win it, and obviously. Yeah, Argentina have always had a bit of soft spot for them. So at the moment, as much as I've sort of waxed on about Morocco and loving what they're doing, the only two teams I don't want to win at the moment are Morocco and Croatia, just for the lack of Manchester United representation. Everyone else has it, even Netherlands with Memphis Depay, Terrell Malacia, Daley Blind, Louis van Gaal, etc. Who knows? New sign Frankie de Jong. Who knows? But if I've sort of covered everything, I think that does just about wrap it up, Larry.
It does indeed. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. If you are new, make sure you hit that subscribe button to stay in the pub, and come watch me tear a hamstring on Sunday.
Yeah, well, mine is all pretty much torn there, so I'll be just sitting in midfield. But Emad as well here in regards to talking about the butcher lift, and Emad will be our enforcer in midfield, throwing it back to the days of Keane and Vieira.
I thought he was playing goalkeeper.
Yeah, actually, we're in desperate need of a goalkeeper. He could be doing a bit of John O'Shea and Rio Ferdinand. But just one or two more comments we do wrap up, because we always do like to sort of interact with all the comments. Berger here saying Portugal, by the way, Man United should buy Vitinha for their midfield. Please get him out of Portugal and leave my Benfica alone. Obviously, a bit of a Portuguese contingent there. I saw him play, and he's kind of reminds me of the player signed for Wolves. Excuse my ignorance for not knowing his name, but there's a player signed for Wolves who I've been quite impressed with. And I think Vitinha is quite similar in terms of that type of player. Is he similar to Bruno Fernandes? I'm not sure where he gets in Manchester United's midfield with Christian Eriksen. But it's good problems to have when you're bringing in these quality players. And obviously, we do have a good midfield at the moment with Casemiro, Bruno, and Eriksen. You look like over the last 5 or 10 years, some of our midfields haven't lived up to the quality what we should see at Manchester United. But today, it is. But just one or two more. Ian, thanks for the good lucks on the weekend. Obviously, a lot of people in the live chat will be playing. So if you are in Sydney, 4 p.m. Carrion Bar, the Man United Supporters Club here in Sydney are playing against the Arsenal supporters. So plenty of goals, tackles, and a few drinks post-match. George, hope to see you on Monday. Obviously, this is the Supporters Club meeting. Chris, appreciate the support. And Emad here, forgot Netherlands was still in it. Game's coming. They are the team which I'll just tip them to beat Argentina, bloody hell. But they are a team that's maybe flying under the radar a little bit. And I don't know if that's because they lack a little bit of star power in regards to the other names, and Brazil and France and all the sort of the narrative around England. But Netherlands, I think Larry and I have both mentioned it. They're a chance at winning this World Cup, and I don't think any of us had that 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, like that at the end of the day, some teams you want a team to surprise you. You want someone to come up and I saw that comment. Hey, man, have some faith in me, mate. Come on.
We'll play you right back.
A left footer right back. That'd be an experience.
Terrell Mercy is almost our backup right back at the moment. Obviously not
Yeah,
available.
and every time he's played there, he's been woeful.
A bit hard. He hasn't been great, but he's done a job. But anyway, we'll be back. We might be back tomorrow discussing the Manchester United performance, and hopefully one or two youngsters can take their chance.
I didn't even answer your question, by the way. Email just distracted me, but we'll just leave it there.
We'll leave it there. We'll come back to it tomorrow, give a detailed answer tomorrow. But do appreciate all the interaction in the live chat. Please do leave a like on the video on your way out. And until then, enjoy the non-day football. I don't think there's any football to World Cup football.
I might actually get some sleep tomorrow.
Well, I'm setting up 6 a.m. Well, I'm off to work at 6 a.m., but Man United play at 6 a.m. So I'll be watching Man United.
Is that on the way.
TV? It's on MU TV, definitely.
Beautiful.
So until then, hopefully we'll chat to you this time tomorrow. Fingers crossed. And until then, have a good one. Cheers.